Hello everyone, I'm Cloud and welcome to Anime no Mi. In today's video we'll talk about the leaked spoilers of One Piece chapter 1036, where now we'll finally see more about the great battle between Luffy and Kaido, where Straw Hat Boy is in his final showdown to save Wano. And I already count on your help to leave your like in the video to support the channel. I also hope you subscribe if you're still new here and leave your comments saying your opinions and what the next videos you want to see here on the channel. Now let's go to the video. Guys, the chapter of the week of One Piece brought many news and new revelations, but before we start talking about the events of chapter 1036, let's quickly recall the previous events to facilitate the explanation of the chapter. At the beginning of chapter 1035, we finally see the end of the fight between the cook of the Straw Hat Pirates and Queen, where we see that with his new special technique he manages to kick Queen away, thus knocking out his opponent, but because of the long battle, he also ends up passing out from fatigue. The scene then switches to Zoro and King's fight, where we see Zoro managing to cut through King's mask while saying that when the flames on King's back disappear, he becomes faster, but his defense gets weaker. Then King takes off the mask, revealing his real appearance. The pirates and samurai who were at the scene can then see his face and say that the rumors were really true, in addition to revealing that Sekai Sifu will pay 100 million berries for information about him. King then draws his sword and with Karyodon he burns everyone around him. Zoro then says that because the Sekai Sifu would pay over 100 million just for little information about King, it means his opponent was very special. King then transforms into his Pteranodon form and tells Zoro he doesn't care if a soon-to-be lifeless man finds out about him. King starts attacking Zoro again with several attacks. Zoro then says that he doesn't have much more time because if the fight is prolonged, Enma's sword could take his life. Zoro prepares to use his Eno Santoria technique, while King says that Kaido is the one who will become king of the pirates. At this point we then see the flashback of Kaido and King, where Kaido tells King that the Sekai Sifu would never leave him alone for being a Lunarian. While saying that he saw the physical endurance experiments they did with him, Kaido says that he will form a new crew and that he would like King to join him as he was the only one who could change the world. While fleeing from Sekai Sifu's laboratory, Kaido asks what is King's name, who shortly after he replies that it was Albert. Kaido says that he is very strong and that's why he will call him King. Kaido tells him to stay by his side as he would never betray him. He would become his right-hand man, and we see that amidst all the destruction they started to laugh, which marks the beginning of a unique bond. The scene returns to the fight, where we see Zoro perform his Rengoku Onigiri attack but realizes that his attack has no effect because King is burning. King uses Karyodon, then a fire dragon appears that looks like magma. Luckily Zoro manages to defend the attack. King goes towards Zoro quickly, kicking him in the face. While Zoro falls, he sees a breach, as now King's defense was down. With his Yakitori skill, Zoro cuts King, who retreats back. King uses a much more powerful ability than before, called Omori Karyodon, where a dragon of lava-like flames appears. Zoro then uses a new ability with his swords, thus slashing the incredible fire dragon and hitting King in the chest. Now let's talk about the events of chapter 1036 of One Piece, remembering that we only have leak information. Some things may be different in the official version, and we have much more information, but let's go straight to the leaks. The illustrated page that we see in every chapter in this week's chapter is called The Way of the Samurai, and on it the message is to find a place to rest, perhaps illustrated with some important samurai from One Piece's work, like Zoro, Oden, or other samurai. The chapter starts with King being defeated by the last attack that Zoro uses at the end of the previous chapter, but before the defeat, we see a flashback again between King and Kaido. This time, important new information should probably be revealed, perhaps telling a little more about King's past. This flashback can even be related to the friendship they both have for each other. As shown in the previous chapter, Kaido admires King a lot and King also admires Kaido, since during the fight against Zoro, King said that Kaido was the only one who could change the world. All of this shows that King has a high hope for Kaido, just as Zoro has for Luffy, making a reference between the two captains and pirates, where both captains saved those who became the first members of their crew, as well as becoming their right-hand men. We then see Rocky, number 6, protecting the door to Orochi's arsenal of explosives. Yamato, who is going to face him to get there. Yamato asks Escape, who is also number 2, to attack him and get that enemy out of your way. Then a brief fight ensues, thus allowing Yamato to advance to Orochi's arsenal to prevent the fire spirit from causing a huge explosion at the base where that battle was taking place. The scene changes. We see Usopp attacking several enemies while defending Kinemon and Kiku, who were badly wounded due to previous battles, where we see that Kiku was cut off by Kenjuro and Kinemon by Kaido. That's when Aizu appears to help them attacking the enemies around him, so that Usopp could get Kinemon and Kiku to get out of that place so they could recover. As they get out of there, we'll see Reizo and Fukurokuja fighting. After a brief fight, they lock onto each other using a technique that prevents them from moving. After that, we then see Zanki, the number 3, and Drake fighting Cypher Pole Zero, but they end up being defeated by them. But while Zanki and Drake were fighting Cypher Pole Zero, Apo and Inbi, who is number 1, managed to see an opportunity to escape. We see the Cypher Pole Zero members talking to each other, where they say that if any pirate of the new generation manages to defeat a Yonkou, it will determine the direction the world will take, as they would take their position. This confirms that if Luffy manages to defeat a Yonkou, he will go become an emperor. And as we currently know, Luffy is fighting Kaido, and with each fight, he is getting closer and closer to reaching the emperor's level. During Wano's arc, we saw a giant evolution of Luffy, where he was able to get much stronger, so much in physical strength, as he kept training his body and skills in Udon, carrying large stones, plus the fact that he trained to use a haki technique that he discovered existed and was used by some Wano characters. After leaving that place, he trained even more, until he was able to improve his haki even more, until he finally managed to use his king's haki in the same way as the pirate king used in the past, coating his body in techniques. This allowed him to finally manage to damage Kaido's resistant body, but it still isn't enough to defeat him, as Kaido is still far superior in using this technique because of his experience, which makes even greater his immense strength, his devil fruit very powerful, and his immortality. The same is happening between Law and Kid. They are also getting stronger during this battle of Wano. Now that they are fighting Big Mom, they are showing how much they evolved, demonstrating their new techniques with their awakened devil fruit. But just like Luffy, they don't seem to be strong enough to defeat Big Mom, so Luffy, Law, and Kid during fights against the Yonkus must evolve even more until the time comes when they will be able to defeat them. And as Cypher Pole Zero says, when that happens, they will determine the direction the world will take, as they will be one of the 3 great powers that rule the world, being even closer to finding the One Piece treasure. The chapter then ends with Luffy's fight against Kaido, where they fight without rest. During this confrontation, Kaido hits Luffy with his kanabo, but Luffy manages to give Kaido an incredible punch, which makes them both fall to the ground. Both were very happy for the incredible match that was going on between them. Luffy and Kaido got up from the ground laughing. Luffy then tells Kaido that this is getting fun, and Kaido agrees with him about it. As we reach the end of the spoilers of chapter 1036 of One Piece, we see that this great battle is probably coming to an end, as we see powerful characters being defeated like King and Queen, leaving only the Yonkou and the weak pirates of their crew. So we are now seeing the end of the fight, where there is a possibility that we will finally see Luffy, Law, and Kid with their powers matching those of Kaido and Big Mom, thus managing to defeat them and getting their rank as Yonkou. In addition, there is the possibility that we will also see a new member joining the crew of the Straw Hat Pirates, Yamato. We don't know what the fate of Kaido and Big Mom will be, as it is very unlikely that they will lose their lives, and even if they are defeated, they will still remain very powerful. What remains for us is to wait for the next chapters to see the outcome of the story. But what do you think of all this? What do you think will happen in the next few chapters? Will the new generation be able to defeat the Emperor? Leave your opinion in the comments. Thanks to all of you for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed the content and information in today's video. We hope that we will always continue together talking about the news of the anime and the manga, so comment your doubts, news, or what you think will happen in the anime in the future. Also comment on the new videos you want to see here on the channel. We'll see you again in the next video. I'll wait for you here. Bye.